At Raising Financial Freedom, we're on a mission to inspire and empower financial freedom to every parent so that they can pass it along to their children. Through engaging stories, expert advice, and actionable tips, our podcast is transforming lives and helping listeners take control of their financial futures. Your support helps us produce high-quality, impactful episodes, expand our reach to underserved communities, and keep this life-changing content free for everyone. Whether it's $5, $10, or any amount, every donation fuels our mission and makes a difference. You can donate by clicking the heart-shaped link next to the social icons or the link at the bottom of the show notes. Once again, thank you for supporting Raising Financial Freedom and joining us in creating a world where financial freedom is within everyone's reach. Together, we can make a difference.
Today on episode 6 of Raising Financial, we have an expert network marketer, 3 times best-selling author, podcast host, and coach. To put on top of all those titles, he's also a father. He has a son that seems to be a chip off the old block, so we'll get into all that. And also later on, I took my daughter on a little trip to the bank, and I'm going to let you hear how it all went down. Matter of fact, that's her calling me right now.
Dad, hurry up and turn on the music.
Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have it all financially? Do well-off parents simply hand their children money? Or is there more to this wealth thing? Welcome to Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast. We are here to talk about everything you never knew to teach your children when it comes to starting their financial future. The principles behind wealth and methods that are out there to teach your child about personal financial freedom. There is no real trick to earning other than learning. We are here to discuss, teach, and grow with you. Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast, with your host and concerned parent, Eric Yard. Let us get right into today's show.
I want to welcome Scott Aaron to Raising Financial Freedom.
Eric, just honored and grateful to be here, and thanks for taking time to connect.
All right. How you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing great, and I'm just feeling grateful and looking to have a great conversation about raising financial freedom and educating people on what they can do to move themselves forward to living their ideal life.
Right. That's what it's all about. Scott, I see you are a major player in network marketing. How did you all get started in network marketing?
So I've been involved in the profession for just about 8 years. 4.5 years of that I spent building the business. The last almost 3+ years, I transitioned over to the full-time coaching side. So I do coaching and consulting. And one of the demographics of clientele that I work with are network marketers since I came out of that profession. How it was introduced to me was in early 2013. So almost 8 years ago. I was a gym owner, a personal trainer, sports nutritionist, and a buddy of mine reached out to come up to the gym to catch a workout. And we were just chatting it up, and he asked me an interesting question that really has stuck with me since. And he said, if you got sick or injured where you couldn't train people to make money, how would you? And that question really turned the mirror around because it's all had been doing at that time for just about 15 years. I started at 18. I was 33 at the time when this happened. I'm 41 now. All I knew was how to trade time for dollars. If someone trained with me, they paid me. It was a very easy transaction. So I never thought about having it done any other way. But now that I was thinking, I knew I had to do something. But I really was open to it. I was psychologically unemployable. So I didn't believe in Ponzi's. I didn't believe in pyramids. I believed in opportunity. And if I didn't take this opportunity and open this door and step through, how would I ever find out? So I walked through the opportunity, that door that opened up to me. And in just about the 4.5 years that I built, earned close to $400,000 in that time period, built an amazing organization, learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about entrepreneurship, learned a lot about social media. And that's what kind of drew me to LinkedIn. And that was the main platform that I utilized to build my network marketing business, but then started to teach others on the side.
How did that feel, taking those first steps into something new like that for you?
Scary as hell, because the way that you describe network marketing is and because I'm a father, I always relate things to like kid stuff now. And it's like that puzzle box that we get as kids. We get that puzzle, we open it up, and then on one side we dump the pieces out. On the other side, we put the cover of the box on the table and we look back and forth and try to figure it out. Network marketing is the opposite. All the puzzle pieces are in there, but there's no picture on the cover of the box. You have to figure it out on your own. You got to go on this personal development journey. The adage goes, it's a personal development journey with a compensation plan attached to it. The more that you become personally developed, the more income you can create. So I started reading books. I started listening to podcasts. I started journaling. I started envisioning what I wanted my life to be outside of spending 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day at the gym. And that's what really not comforted me, but allowed me to sit in with it to realize that there was a solution out there. I just had to practice patience and practice consistency.
I understand that definitely. Speaking of books, you have a book, the LinkedIn book for network marketing. Tell me about that.
So I have 4 books now. That was my second book. That book was derived out of the need that so many people were having. So I launched my coaching practice teaching network marketers specifically only at this time. Now it's gone into so many directions. In 2016, February of 2016, I launched my coaching practice just about 5 years ago. And it was because I kept hearing from people the similar things that they were struggling with. I don't have enough people to talk to. I have too many consumers. I don't have enough business builders. I can't build a team. No one's as serious as me. I don't have enough leads. And I was over here doing what I was doing on LinkedIn, achieving all of that, achieving income, building a team, having leads, having conversations. And I started helping people the way that I was helping myself. And then I was talking with my wife and she goes, if you really want to get a foothold, not just in network marketing, but if you want to become the authoritative figure, you got to write a book. You got to get this book in the hands of as many people as possible. So it was about a 10-month process. The book was released in February of 2019. I started the process in April or May of 2018 and it hit bestseller. And still to this day, it's selling 2 to 3 copies every single day. And it's impacted a lot of people. It's given people hope that there are other ways outside of their friends, family, other network marketers, Facebook and Instagram to build a network marketing business. And that was the premise of why I wrote the book.
That book, when I read some of it and I was going through it, I was like, I never considered LinkedIn as a place where you could do some serious network marketing at. But from reading your book, I am now understanding that now.
It was one of those things where, so the backstory goes, one of my first mentors, Susan Sly, amazing network marketer. Susan's probably made at this point, $15-16 million in her career in network marketing, makes $1 million a year at this point, maybe even more. And she said to me when she was mentoring me very early on, she said, listen, you need to wake up every single day, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself one question. How am I going to connect with myself today? And I sat there and I'm like, okay, who am I? And I started thinking about who is the business version of me? Because again, I could sell snow to an Eskimo. That wasn't a problem. I could push the product, but that really wasn't making me the money. It took me 22 months to have my first $10,000 a month in network marketing. And it was because I was building an organization. And I said, what's the business version of me? Other trainers, other nutritionists, other gym owners. And then I thought to myself, where could I go social media wise, network wise, where I could find and reach out and converse with other people that were just like me from a business standpoint? Wasn't Facebook, wasn't Instagram. It was LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows you to search anywhere in the world, any job title, anytime you want. So I started connecting with other people like me, other trainers, other gym owners, other nutritionists, having great conversations. And I was booking 5 calls a week, 10 calls a week, up to 40 calls a week. Still to this day, 15 to 25 calls every single week without fail. And I know that network marketing is a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more answers you're going to get. most likely is going to be no, but the more yeses will show up. No leads to yes. And that was another big turning point for me, Eric, is I was reading the book Go for No at the same time by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. Not the one for network marketing with Ray Higdon, the original. Andrea has since become a good friend of mine. And in the book, on the cover, it says, yes is the destination, but no is how you're going to get there. So I knew that I just needed to hear the word no more.
Right.
I was afraid of no at one point, but I embraced it. I fell in love with it because I knew behind every no was a potential yes. But I needed to find a platform that allowed those repetitions to actually happen. And Facebook and Instagram were drying up. I was losing hope. But I found LinkedIn. And here we are.
Okay. So it sounds to me at the core, you're an entrepreneur. And it seems like you were born that way. Now, did your parents have anything to do with that bug that's in you, that entrepreneurship that you develop into a grown person right now?
Absolutely. I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur. My great grandfather was, when he came over from Eastern Europe, changed his last name, moved to South Philadelphia and became a butcher. My grandfather was a pharmacist for 55 years. He's retired now. He's going to be 93 in February. He's still with us. My father, also an entrepreneur, owned a pharmacy called Scott's Pharmacy after I was born, owned various industrial businesses. But his real passion was health and wellness. He still competes globally when things are opened up. He's a world record bench press holder in the Raw Natural Bench Press Federation. And yeah, he's ranked number 1 in the country right now in his weight class and number 3 in another. And he was actually ranked number 3 in the world in 2019. So his passion was always health and wellness and working out. And he bought a gym when I was a freshman in college, which wasn't too surprising. But what was surprising was why he bought the gym. And the reason why he bought the gym is he was exiting a company that he was working for in the physical rehabilitation profession that was under investigation by the federal government for a $9.5 million insurance fraud case. And my father was caught in the middle of it. So to prepare for anything, or the inevitable, so to speak, he bought a gym and started to grow it, started to run it. Eventually, as the lawsuit proceeded, my father ended up having to serve and got sentenced to 2.5 years in federal prison. I was now entering my sophomore year of college, but had to come home. I was at the University of Pittsburgh, but had to re-enroll at Temple University in downtown Philadelphia. And that was my entryway into entrepreneurship. I was a sophomore in college, going to school full time, getting my degree in human resources, but at the same time, growing a business, not knowing how to build one, not knowing how to grow one, not knowing how to manage or lead people or run an organization. But the best way to learn is growing through it. And that's exactly what I did. So from day one, I've been an entrepreneur. I've never had a boss, never worked for anyone but me. And that's how it's always going to be.
And I like that. I really do like that. So now, in terms of your son, now we talked a little bit before. I hear that he has the bug, and I hear that he's sitting back there watching what Pops is doing. Tell me about that.
So he's noticing that his mom and I are not together. I am remarried, but his mom is a wonderful teacher, but he's noticing that things are different when he's here with my wife and I. We work online. He hears me on calls. And for a little while, when he was probably about 6 years old, a couple of years ago, we would ask him, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, a professional network marketer. So if he wants to do that, great. I do want to teach him about entrepreneurship and dreaming big and being a good person, being kind, being truthful, being honest. We practice gratitude every time that he's here. He's here every Wednesday into Thursday and every other weekend. So we have him about 14 or 16 days a month Every night before he goes to bed, we say 3 things that we're grateful for. I've been doing that with him since he was a year and a half old. As soon as he could really start to talk, so that's just ingrained in him. And I think he sees me, he sees my wife doing things differently, having more availability. I pick him up if his mom needs to do something, and I go pick him up at 9:30 in the morning. He's like, "Do you have any work?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. What do you want to go do?" So he's picking up on life is not a 9 to 5. Kids are very perceptive. They're very intuitive, and they're sponges. So the things that we're looking to instill in him foundationally as a human being, but also as a future adult and business owner, that you can do it any way you want. Everything is possible. And I think, not to get political, but for me, seeing Kamala Harris become the vice president-elect and her speech, everything's possible. And I also think about the story of Roger Bannister, who was the first person to break the 4-minute mile barrier. And he was told for years, you're never going to do it. But all you have to do is be that first person to prove it. And then it can be done. And Kamala Harris is the same way. She holds the second highest position in our country. And it just gives hope to other little girls, other people of every race, that everything is possible. And those same things I want to instill in my son, that everything is possible when you put your mind to something and you believe in yourself.
That is so true. That is so true. So when you're talking to your son or teaching your son certain aspects, are you including any aspects of like personal finance to him, or telling him any things about personal finance? Because that's a big part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, we talk about, he doesn't really have a relationship with money yet, but he's got a good life.
How old is he now?
He's 8. And if he wants something, we have the financial means to get it, which I'm very grateful for. But I also am very explicit with him that I remind him, I'm like, listen, you have a whole room full of toys that are sitting in boxes, that there are a lot of underprivileged kids in this world that would do anything to have what you have. And if you're not going to play with it, we're going to give them away. So we purge every couple months.
Okay.
And I say, let's donate some toys to some other kids. And he'll go through and he'll make a pile. We'll put them in a bag and we'll go donate them. And we really try to stress to him that, listen, you got to work hard. You got to be a good person. Nothing's going to be handed to you. You got to earn it. And I think that's always been instilled in me. I remember as a kid, and I haven't talked about this before, I used to feel so guilty when my parents would give me money just for the weekend. We were in high school. My dad would kick me $20-$40, go get pizza, have fun with your friends, blah, blah, blah. I felt guilty about that because I didn't do anything to earn it. So I always knew intuitively, I always felt inside, I have to earn my keep. I have to work and earn for everything that I have. And that's why I have the work ethic that I do. And he sees that. And he's at that age where he wants to be the best at everything. He wants to be perfect at everything. And I constantly have to remind him, and my wife reminds him too. You got to practice. You're not going to do something once and be the best. You want to get better at soccer? You got to go practice. You want to get better at basketball? You got to practice. If you want to get better at handwriting and reading, you got to practice, whether you like it or not. He's learning piano. He's been playing piano for a couple of years, and he's getting better. And I even said to him, I said, are you better today at piano or the first day that you took a lesson? He goes, today. And I said, why? And he goes, because I've been practicing. I said, exactly. The more that you practice, the better you're going to get. And the same thing is with money. You have to practice that relationship with money. One of my first business coaches said to me, Eric, he goes, money doesn't care about you. Why do you care so much about it? And that's when I started to develop a healthier relationship with it, because money comes and money goes. But I have a deep sense of being grateful and thankful for everything that I have right now and everything that I'm going to have. But I do my best to stay as grounded and as realistic and as honored as possible with everything that I have. My son, some of the things that he's experienced already, cars that he's driven in, He doesn't even know what it is. They've been dream cars of mine that I have that are his everyday daily drivers that daddy picks him up in. But he'll appreciate it later, but there's no stigma where we are in our lives compared to other people. He does not get things handed to him on a silver platter. He's got chores. He's got to earn his keep. You got to make your bed. You got to take a shower. You got to put your clothes in the hamper. You got to do that. Like, he's got to contribute. And he's learning that nothing is given to you. You have to earn it.
Right.
And the more practice you get, the more that you earn, the better life you can create.
That's good. What do you love most about teaching him?
I think what I love most is that his willingness to learn, and also seeing him accomplish certain things and letting him know how proud I am of him. There was an article that I read about a year and a half ago about the importance of the relationship between a son and his father. And my father and I were best friends. We definitely had our rough patches when we were in business together, but we are closer than ever. And the relationship that a father has with his son is very important. Not saying that it's not important with a son and a mother. It's just different. And him and I wrestle around. We horseplay. And it's really funny, Eric. I grew up in a different generation. I was born in 1979. I grew up in the age of video games. My father didn't. So my father, we played sports. What did we do? We went outside. We had a baseball catch, or we shot hoops. My son and I do that, but we also play Nintendo Switch because I grew up with video games. And it's great that him and I get to experience that together. And it is beyond rewarding when there's nothing better than when your child tells you that he loves you and he knows that he's cared for, and seeing him accomplish certain things, and also him being proud of himself, but also being told by other people. Our neighbor tells us all the time how sweet of a little boy he is. And he's very kind, very polite. And that's every parent's dream. And in the Jewish faith, it's called a mensch. Someone that's just sweet and nice and kind and just wants to do good things. And my wife actually converted to Judaism. So I took the class with her to just get reconnected to the faith. And one of the principles that every Jewish parent wants is their son or daughter to become a mensch, to become a great person, to become a good person, to be a person of gratitude and thankfulness and sweet and kind. And my son's a mensch. He's a really sweet kid. And I think you can't ask for anything more as a parent, to know that you're raising a good kid, but to be told by other people that they're a good kid as well.
But it can't all be good, though. That I can tell you that right from there. And on that note, what is your biggest frustration about teaching them?
Oh, man, especially right now with COVID and having to do remote learning. No kid wants their parent to be their teacher, too.
But we're the first teacher that they see.
And it's his mom's a teacher, so that comes normal to her. It was a transition for me I've had to practice a lot of patience because I get it. I've done all this stuff, but switching off dad mode and getting into teacher mode took me a few weeks, but we're in a rhythm. But that was absolutely one of the most challenging aspects recently, was learning how to adjust to being his teacher and not just being his father. We're good. My wife helps out. She's an amazing teacher to him as well. And you just bob and weave through it. You can't get frustrated. You can't get angry. You kind of just have to flow through it like water. And it's a lesson for us too, which is everybody's learning together.
Yep.
Introducing the Dollars and Cents Bundle. This isn't just another boring financial guide. It's your secret weapon for raising financially smart kids. Inside this bundle, you'll get 3 powerful tools to make money lessons a breeze. First up, a kid-friendly budget sheet. It's the perfect way to help your child track their money, build healthy habits, and get hands-on experience managing their earnings. Next, you'll unlock the guide Money Mavericks, bite-sized wisdom for busy parents. Think of it as your quick start playbook, packed with expert-backed tips to help you teach your kids about saving, spending, and everything in between. And finally, there's my favorite part, interactive digital flashcards. These are perfect for teaching core money concepts in a way that's fun, engaging, and memorable for the whole family. Here's the best part. The Dollars and Cents bundle is completely free. Yep, free. All you have to do is sign up and the tools are yours, delivered straight to your inbox. You owe it to your kids to give them the skills they need to succeed in life. The Dollars and Cents bundle makes it simple, fun, and totally doable, no matter how busy you are. So, what are you waiting for? Make financial literacy a family adventure. Head over to show notes right now to grab your free Dollars and Cents bundle link, or go to nurturingfinance.com and subscribe. Don't wait. Start your family's financial journey today.
So, as I'm talking to you, I'm getting a vision. And I think that you have a certain vision for him. How do you envision your son as an older or a young adult?
Oh, wow. He's going to do some amazing things. He's been an intuitive little boy his entire life. Right now, he says he wants to be a veterinarian or have a zoo. But I don't think there's anything that he can't do. But what I really envision for him is a life just full of love and happiness, and finding the woman of his dreams, and having the kids that he wants to have, and building whatever business he wants to build, and living life on his own terms, and experiencing the world and traveling, and just letting him know that there are no boundaries in life unless you set boundaries around yourself. I want him to live as limitlessly as possible. And I want him to continue to reach for the stars and grab them and achieve whatever he wants to achieve.
But it seems like you really want him to follow the family tradition as an entrepreneur.
I think that you are a product of your environment. And even though his mom is a teacher, not saying that he's not going to go down that route, but my entire family are entrepreneurs. Like this, my side, my wife, myself, my sister, my brother-in-law, my father, all entrepreneurs. And you're a product of your environment. The more time that he's around us, it's going to drip off onto him. And I hope that as he gets older, he gets more curious about entrepreneurship and business, and I can teach him everything that I know.
Right. Sounds good. What is the one thing that people don't really realize about teaching their children?
That it requires more patience of you than it does of the child. 100%. That is, without a doubt, patience has always been something that I've battled, because I'm not an instant gratification person, but when I want something and I want something to happen, like I want it like that. And when you're dealing with an 8-year-old, you have to have patience, especially when you're trying to teach them math and reading and writing. So that has been the biggest lesson with all of that, is being patient.
I hear you. So I think he's going to follow in your lines of being an entrepreneur. That's how
I hope so. I hope so.
So when you was becoming an entrepreneur, how did you get over that fear or that little voice telling you can't do this? And how do you plan to help your son through that same situation when it does happen to him, or if he does tell you it's happening to him?
For me, I learned resiliency and overcoming obstacles from a very young age. I was 18 and a half, almost 19 when my father went to prison. So it's been ingrained in me, not just being an entrepreneur, but overcoming those obstacles. And the one thing that always comforted me, and this is what I would tell my son if something ever came up, that there's a solution for every problem. When you live in the solution and you don't live in the problem, everything can be figured out. And that's what I've always gone through in my life. If something came up, there's got to be a solution for it. And I work on it until I figure it out. And that's the same thing I would say to him. If he ever came to me and said he was struggling with this, that, or the other, let's work on the solution. Let's not focus on the problem. Let's work on the solution for this problem.
That's the approach I think I would take too, because my little girl right now, she asks us a lot of questions. And
yeah, questions are good. They lead to
questions
answers.
is good, but when you don't have the answer, it's another
Google it.
Google sometimes is leads you the wrong way. Sometimes. What is the best thing that has ever happened to you since you started on this journey?
Oh, God. From a personal standpoint, the birth of my son and marrying my wife. From a business standpoint, filing for personal bankruptcy 4 years ago. And the reason why I say that is the bankruptcy was because of a failing business that I inherited through family that was pulling me away from my dreams and my hopes and my aspirations. And it was sinking me. And because I had to file for personal bankruptcy, it was because I was a personal guarantor on the lease. And my attorney said, listen, you have no other choice. Either you sink with this ship or you let it sink by yourself by getting yourself out of it by filing for personal bankruptcy. I had 2 other successful businesses outside of it, and those profits were getting poured back into the gym just to keep it afloat. And that was the day that I was reborn. That day, when I got the paperwork, October 15th of 2016, that my bankruptcy was through and I was done, I was cleared, it was the biggest sense of relief because now I was in control of my own future. And my life, in all honesty, has been an absolute rocket ship since. But like I said, on that personal level, becoming a father, one of the greatest gifts, and then also marrying the woman of my dreams is right up there.
Wow. Well, Scott, I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing with us. Before you go, I want you to tell the listeners out there where they can find you, how they could get in contact with you.
Thank you, Eric. And the best way is my website, www.scottaaron.net. It's got all my contact info. I'm also very omnipresent on social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. Just type in Scott Aaron. It's 2 T's and 2 A's. And my handle on Instagram is @ScottAaronLinkedIn. And would be grateful to connect.
All those links will definitely be in the show notes.
So there are 2 good points that I've taken out of that interview, but there were so many gems within that interview, but there were 2 that just really stuck out with me. So the first one is how you address and how you learn from hurdles being thrown at you in life is something that could make or break you. But if you have solid goals and stay focused on them, anything could be figured out. Or to better yet, quote Scott, when you live in a solution and you don't live in a problem, everything could be figured out. To me, this is something that should be definitely conveyed to your children, something that they need to learn from at an early age. So the second point I could take away from that interview is that show your child there's more than one avenue to go with their career. Scott's son is watching his father be an entrepreneur and flourish. So working a regular 9 to 5 for his son probably won't be a route that he's looking to go into, but that option is still there for him. So making sure all avenues is opened up for your child and that they know about all these avenues, I think is the best thing we could do for them. Okay, like I mentioned before, I have a short interview with my daughter about her first visit inside of a bank. Here it goes. So, we went to the bank the other day. How was it?
It was good, and I got to learn like what most of the workers, like, well, not workers, but like people were, and I got to learn about like they told me like what they did and like what they do at the bank, and you told me about like your bank account and your savings account.
So what account do you want to start when you go to the bank?
Your bank account.
No, what are the 2 types of bank accounts?
Oh, the savings account and the checking.
There you go, the checking. So how was the experience? It was okay? It was fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I got to learn like what some of the people were and all like the accounts you can have.
Okay. You think you have any problems going back to the bank?
I mean, I don't really know.
Well, you know you're going to end up going back to the bank, right?
Yeah.
So you could do what?
Learn more.
And open.
Open my own bank account.
There you go. Open your own bank account. How about that? All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, coming up next week, we have a very interesting guest where she has purchased her first house at the age of 23. So we're going to get to hear a lot about that and other aspects of investing. So like always, I need you to rate, comment, and subscribe, which is most importantly, subscribe on your favorite player or wherever you can, and share with other like-minded parents just like you.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast. Stay connected with us directly through raisingfinancialfreedom.com. You can also join the discussion on social media, which you can also find links on our website. If you would like to speak with us, please send us an email through info@raisingfinancialfreedom.com. And as always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to stay fully up to date. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
Before you go, I wanted to tell you about a new option called Fan Mail, which uses text messaging to give our listeners the ability to text our show directly. There is a link in every episode at the top that will say, "Send us a text." You can use that link to text the show. When a listener clicks the link in our episode description, a new text message will open on your device directly to the show. It's that easy. So tell me what you think, what else you want to hear out of the show, or simply your thoughts on that episode you just heard.